I was asked to make a video about how to launch a fighter kite. There are a lot of ways to do it, and I'll describe them in a video that I'll release very soon. But one of the things that's really important that I have learned through teaching many people how to fly fighter kites is that when they have the most trouble is really caused not by their inexperience in launching a kite, even though this might be their first time. It has to do with the kite itself, and that it's mismatched to the speed of the wind that they're attempting to fly the kite in. Now, I call this property stiffness. It could be flexibility, it could be called other things. I call it stiffness, and it has to do with the relative stiffness of the sail caused by the strength of the bow that's in the kite. Now, the bows in North American fighter kites are made of carbon fiber for the most part, carbon fiber rod. It's a perfect material for this purpose. It's ultra lightweight, ultra strong, durable, and readily available, not that expensive. Well, these rods come in a variety of different diameters, and as the diameter gets larger, the carbon fiber rod of a given length becomes stiffer. So if a kite is being very stiff against the wind, isn't deflecting very much when you hold it up against the wind, like I'm simulating the wind pressure here on the sail with my hand, it doesn't, I have to put a lot of pressure here to get the sail to deflect this amount. Compared with this kite, doing the same thing, holding it by the upper part of the spine and just pressing to deflect. Look at the difference in the way that sail deflects. So this kite has a much smaller diameter carbon fiber rod for its bow, even though the kites are almost the same size. They respond very differently to the wind, and that's the reason they do. And if you're trying to fly a kite, especially the first time trying to launch it, and you're having trouble, there's a very good chance the kite is too stiff for the wind speed that you have available. Now, when the kite is being deflected by the wind, like if you're just holding the kite by the line and the wind's pressing on it and doing this to it, for example, when you release the line, the kites flatten out. That's what they do. Their purpose or the function is that when the wind is significant pressure against the sail deflects. But as soon as the wind pressure is released, the sail snaps right back to being flat. And when it does, it has the tendency, because of the shape of the spine, to just spin. Now, if you're new, or if you're struggling with launching the kite, then this aspect of the kite could very well be the reason, may not be you at all. So this is important, and this is why North American fighter kite flyers almost always carry an assortment of kites when they go to fly. The reason is that they don't know what the wind will be like when they get to where they're going to fly. And they want a kite that will allow them to fly in whatever wind they find. And that's why. Now this kite has a much smaller diameter bow, even though it's about the same length as this one. So I would be able to fly this kite in a very light wind, and it would fly well, because with a light wind, when I release the flying line pressure, it could snap back quickly. If the wind pressure were too great for this kite, overpowering it is what we call it, it means that the wind pressure, even when I release the line, doesn't allow the kite bow to flatten the sail enough. The pressure is just too great and it deforms the sail even when there isn't any tension on the flying line. So when you're deciding on a kite to build, don't worry too much about how stiff it is. Just make sure you make several kites, each with a different diameter bow, so that you will be able to have a successful flight in any wind that you encounter. That's the secret. And it has a tremendous amount of effect on how successful a person is when they're trying to launch a kite, especially the first time or the second, or if they've been struggling with it and just haven't figured it out and want to give up. This will give them that added amount of confidence because it's a better match for the wind speed that they're flying in.